Hi everyone, welcome to the second part of this video from the Johanna Basford Weekly Planner and Enchanted Forest, and happy Tuesday. We are going to start with the tree trunk, I think. So let's come in a little closer to that bottom part, just there. Now we have our Polychromos pencils. I am actually going to start with a walnut brown. It's quite a dark colour. I'm going to use it for the sort of edges. So just like this edge here, just a little bit. So I want a more defined bit along that black line, and then a little bit less into the middle of the branch, like that. And the same, we can put a little bit more as the trunk gets a bit wider. I hope everyone's good today. It's always hard to know down here where it just sort of trails off how far to go, but I think we need a bit there, and we probably need a bit under there and a bit under there, like that. And the same this side, just spreading that in a little bit. There we go, like that. So we are just moving back up. I'm going to sharpen just a tad. Now you can use your colours to give your tree some sort of gnarly bark or interest. I'm probably just going to use it to make it look slightly different colours rather than anything too fancy like that. Now we've got a bit under there and under there. So basically I'm using this slightly darker colour to define where the shadows would be. So I don't think it will be so dark on the top of the branch, but this bit, a little bit either side. And here we'll just go on the underneath bits like that, but the side here. And under there, like that. I think that bit probably is supposed to be a bit of branch, but it's become a bit of leaf, so never mind. Right, I'm going to go a little bit lighter now. I think the nougat is a little bit lighter. We'll use this one. And we'll start up here and we'll just move towards the edge, sort of fading as we go, like that. There we are. And just taking the colour up to try and make it look like the top of the branch is a little bit lighter, where it might be catching the light. Potentially not, because there's this whole treehouse thing going on above it. But there's a tiny bit there that needs to be permanent green olive. Perm green olive. Sharpened off so you can't read it. There we go. Going to sharpen up my nougat as well. So this bit. So we're just going to bring it upwards and sort of inwards to make it a bit paler at the top. So a few more layers on top of where it's darker and less towards the edge, centre on this piece, edge on that one. So we're doing them in slightly different ways depending on the sort of angle and direction of the branches. Hopefully it's not overly confusing. I want a sort of lighter bit down the centre of the trunk. I'm going to move over here. Just do this little bit. So once I get around to here, I'm now trying to make a much more conscious effort to make it a bit lighter at the top. Just sort of fading it off. That dark line needs just blending a little bit. There we go. This one, like this one, will be lighter in the middle. Like that. Gosh, it's hard to quite concentrated work this, and I feel like I'm going to sneeze, which is always good fun. I don't know why I sneeze so much on video particularly. Anyway, there we go, and just moving towards the centre there. And here, like this. Now it doesn't matter if you can see stripy lines like I have got here, because I'm going to try to make that a little bit darker, but tree trunks do have gnarly stripy lines. You just need to make sure they're in the right direction. So you need to go this in a sort of vertical direction where you can. I mean, I couldn't there because I don't have space, but it just helps you to make it look a bit more bark-like. Now again, not really sure what to do here. I'm just going to put some colour in here and just sort of try and make it look a little bit neater than that. That looks messy, and just go over it. It looks a bit neater like that. So that's what to do if you make a bit of a mess. You can just colour over it gently and eventually it just sort of comes together. Now I'm going to put a darker bit in there and there. Just to make it look like we've got a bit of shape down here at the bottom. So I'm thinking maybe this bit here is dipped in a tad. There we go. Now we've got these two bits here and here. I'm just going to use my nougat to go over them quite gently. So I feel they are slightly sticking out from the main trunk. So I'm going to go back to my walnut brown and I'm going to put a bit of shadow just around the edges of them here. Even where the leaves are, just so they look like they're slightly sticking out from the tree trunk like that. Just a tiny detail. Now let's do some of our bits and pieces down here. We've got a selection of grass, leaves, ferny type things. There we go. So I want to keep with my olivey type colours, and we've got a few others that we haven't used, so I think we'll start with some of those. So I'm going to start with the May green. It's a slightly lighter colour than this, and I'm going to use it for all of these sorts of leaves, and hopefully it will just look a little bit different to the main leaves. It is really similar, the colour. I sometimes find it annoying in pencil sets when colours are really close to each other, but because I like this colour so much and the earth green yellowish, I don't really mind. But there is a few lacking colours in the Polychromos, I always think, you know, so it could do with a few more pastels. So I think if they got rid of the earth green, yellowish, or the May green, just had one of them, they'd have a bit of space. And if they got rid of like the light ultramarine, this one looks really different. So I'm not going to colour that one in that colour. I am going to use the chrome oxide green. It's quite dark. Why not? I'm going to use it lightly. You could press quite hard, it would become really dark, but it would really draw the eye. So I think it's better to keep it lightish, and then it looks different, but it doesn't take your attention away from everything. Then I'm going to use the olive green yellowish to do the sort of tufty bits here. And then we've got the grass left to do, and I'm going to do the chromium green opaque for that. And I'm really just blocking in. I would like to fade it to the tip, but it is so small that it is really quite difficult. So I'm just blocking it in. And I think that's sometimes why some people aren't so keen on really detailed pictures, because it doesn't give you the scope to be able to do so much shading and use so many different colours combined together and things like that. You just don't have the space. There we go. So there's that little bit. Right, we could do our little fox. They aren't the easiest things to colour. I always wonder quite what colour to do, but I think I'm going to just start with the brown ochre and we'll start with the tail. Now if you can do a sort of movement like this, you can get a sort of furry look. You do need to layer up lots if you want to really go for a fur, but you can get a little bit of an effect like this. And he's quite small, isn't he? So now they tend to have white bits on them and black bits on them, and I'm not quite sure what to do where. I'm going to use a slightly darker brown, just sharpen it really sharp. This is the burnt sienna, and I'm going to just put a few tiny bits just to make him look a bit furrier. Like that. He is quite small. Can do a few more in the bottom of the ear like that. There we go. Now the bits I've left white, I feel they will need a little bit of something. And his nose as well. I'm going to do his nose in black. We're going to put a bit of black actually on. We'll deal with the white area first. I find the best thing to do with the white area is to use a warm grey. Just give it a sharpen. This is actually the warm grey 2. And I'm just going to put the tiniest little bit on. Again, in like fur shaped bits. Because I don't think he'd be pure white. There we go. He still looks quite white, but we're going to use our black to put a little bit on as well. Black. Now where I'm going to put the black on the tip of the tail, like that, just fade into that sort of white area. I don't know if that's right, I'm just guessing, I haven't got a picture. In the ears, nose, like that, and then the eyes. I feel the eyes should be completely black. Ooh, that looks a bit scary, doesn't it? we're going to put a white dot in there. Ooh, I don't like that one little bit. This is a Jelly Roll 5. I'm going to put a white line around the edge of the eye to just take that black bit back a bit. It's too big. Better. That's better. And then I want a dot in the middle. Like that. And like that there. I'm happy with that. There we go. Yeah. Now, what else have we got going on? Well, we've got our little platform that our buildings are on, and we've got bits of sort of wooden structure here and there. So we can do that, I think. I don't want to use the tree colour though, so I think if we go for a brown ochre, we've got a much more sort of yellowy brown colour, which I think will just set it apart from the rest. So we can go across here and just block this in. I'm quite keen on actually just blocking it and not doing too many colours. I think it's just a little platform. It could be like a plank of wood. Now at this point it spreads up into this building, but I'm going to not do that. I'm just going to carry on across with it. It also goes up there. I'm not going to do that. Oops, I'm going to go over the lines. There we go. But what I am going to do is this little piece under here, because this to me looks like a little wooden frame for our little treehouse tower to sit on. There we go. And across. Like that, and then down here. And also this bit here that this one's on. So it's got a little platform which I think we can colour. And then these pieces down here. Now they have got leaves growing out of them, but I think it's still perfectly fine making it this colour. And we're sort of adding a nice bit of warmth into our picture, which I think is rather nice. We've also got this bit actually here. And this little platform. I've got the supports for this roof. I think we can not do that one yet. Yeah. Now we have got some other bits that look like wood, like this bit here and this door. But they don't necessarily have to be brown. I'm just having a little think about what colour, whether to do it lots of different colours and bright and colourful, or whether to keep it very simple. I've got a few ideas. My first idea is to colour in that leaf there that I forgot. Can you see it? What colour? That's a permanent green olive, isn't it? No, earth green yellowish, sorry. So I'm going to colour that leaf in, and I'm going to do a little bit of the detail from this side. I think we'll just start here. We could just start here and move across. So we've got this sort of rope going there, and I'm going to use the light yellow ochre to do that. It's a nice warm colour. I need to sharpen it. Like that. And we've got a little lamp hanging down here. Now I'm going to use a cold grey to make it look sort of silvery. So this is the cold grey 3. I'm going to do the bit hanging down a little bit each end. Now this bit has got a bit in the middle, I think that's too difficult, so I'm going to colour it all as one, fade towards the centre, leave a little white bit and it looks a little bit shiny, and hopefully it looks metallic. That is the plan. There we go. And then we've got our candle. Now a flame I would normally do in a mixture of red, orange and yellow, but we don't have the luxury of having enough space for more than one colour really. So I'm going to use this colour, which is quite a yellowy orange. This is the dark cadmium yellow, and I'm going to do the little teeny tiny flame with this, like that. And then I'm going to do behind the flame in a slightly lighter yellow. This is the light cadmium yellow. Again, need to sharpen it. Small details. And just fill in all the back with light, like that. The little tiny candle. I quite fancy doing it in a bright red. I'm going to use the madder actually. Here it is, madder. Now usually when I do a candle I like to make it darker on the outside, lighter in the middle, so it looks more rounded. We don't have that sort of space. Now here's our cat, and it's sitting in a pile of pebbles, I'm thinking. So we could do these in a few different colours. I think, yeah, let's do that. Let's go warm grey 4, 5 and 6. So here's warm grey 4. Now pebbles, I'm going to show you on the biggest one. I tend to go darker around the edge like this. Oops. And then less towards the middle, so we've got a sort of lighter bit in the centre. Impossible to do with the teeny tiny ones, but I'm going to try and do that through. Just sort of randomly colour them, remembering I've got 2 other colours to go. Some will be next to each other, some won't, like that. And then we'll go for our darker one, the warm grey 5. And do a few. Try and sort of spread them out amongst the ones that are left. Whoops. Like this. Yeah, and then we'll go for our darkest warm grey 6 for the last ones. Hopefully they look different to each other. I think they do. I'm not very good at knowing what colour to colour a cat. They can be quite tricky colours, can't they? There we go. But I'm thinking we've got this little piece here, which, oops, pencils are rolling away, which we need to colour, and I'm thinking I might do this colour. What did I use? Did I use the burnt ochre? No, that was the fox. I used this one, didn't I? The brown ochre. So I think I'm just going to use the brown ochre here, there, and then behind the cat we need some sort of colour, which we can use behind these rooms as well, maybe. Because I think is he in a room or is he outside? It doesn't really matter, does it? But we just need to think of a colour. I think I'm going to colour him first. I'd quite like to do him black, but black is quite severe, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to grab a Payne's grey. I don't want him to disappear into the pebbles. That's the only problem. So this is actually the cold grey 6. We use this. And I'm going to sort of try and do like fur, like I did for the fox. I'm ignoring this, I don't know what it is. I assume it's supposed to be like a change in colour or something. There's its tail. I'm going to go dark inside the ears like that, a darker nose. And then just try and do some sort of strands of colour here and there. I'm also wondering what to do with the eyes. I don't want to make the mistake I made with the fox, although he looks alright now. Cats don't have black eyes anyway. They can be quite green. I think I might just pop a bit of May green in the eyes and see what happens. Although they're probably more likely to be an emerald. I think that's okay. Now, background behind the cat. We could go for something. Just trying to think about what I'm going to do with all of these buildings. I think I'm going to keep it earthy. Sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Let's do a green gold. So it's quite a nice colour. Green gold. It's magical-ish. It's earthy-ish. It's not too dark. The cat will stand out in front of it. And there we go. I'm going to need to sharpen it to get it around the edges a little bit neater. Around the tail and ears and things. I'll just finish this bit and then I'll come back across. Oh, can I hear a gull? Sounds like I'm at the seaside. To pretend I am on a holiday at the beach. I wouldn't want to be on holiday. I always try and make my holidays so they're not during Wimbledon. I was in Australia during Wimbledon, I seem to remember. I missed it all. Which was quite sad. Right, so there's our cat. I'm quite happy with the cat. I'm going to move over. We're going to do some of this building, but we're not going to finish it today. But I'm going to just do the background here with the same colour behind these sort of windowy bits. Like that. It's quite fiddly. Just do the best you can. We've got another candle here. Really, look in there. That little circle candle where you hold the candle. I'm not going to try and colour it this colour. I'm going to colour that as a solid circle because it's just so tricky. But we'll do this little bit here. Our magical books and our skull. I know some of you don't like skulls. I think they're okay if you can make them look friendly. There we go. Now, as I say, I'm not going to finish this. Maybe we'll just do these little items and we'll do the rest tomorrow. It's a lot. I don't want to rush it. And yeah. So we'll do a terracotta pot for this little plant here. Now the candle holder would do in a cold grey. I'm going to use the cold grey 4. So I'm just going to block that in. I want to make it look shiny, but it's so hard because it's so small. I've ended up blocking it in. But I'm going to do the candle in madder like I did the one over here. I think it's a nice idea to match them up. And the flame in the dark cadmium yellow, it should stand out from the green gold. It is a different colour after all. I'm going to sharpen my green gold and just go around here. Sorry, maximum concentration required. There we go. Going to leave the skull white, but these little books we can colour in just a few nice bookish colours. This is the bluish turquoise. I need to sharpen it. Here it is. There's that one. The next one to it I'm going to do in caput mortuum. And then that last one I'm actually going to do in chrome oxide green. Seagulls again. There we go. So that's going to be us for today. Let's come out and look. And we will finish the buildings, and I've got to decide whether I'm going to do anything behind the leaves and that sort of thing in tomorrow's video. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a super day and happy colouring.